Yeah, yeah, ECW, that, oh my gosh. I remember my first, like, I went to a show and I just remember like watching like New Jack, Balls Mahoney, like everybody, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, I really want to do that. And then I remember I brought it up to my parents because I was, God, early 20s, and they were like, yeah, you're gonna finish college first. I was just like, but then it's too late, you know, and then because in your mind you're like, well, life is over, you know, at that point. But I remember, yeah, that had been my dream. And then eventually, as we know, I mean, ECW was no more, you
Which
know, and then
I just did a tribute to Balls Mahoney. I don't know if you see it on my page. And right now I'm working on, because in a couple weeks it's the anniversary of New Jack's death. Right now I'm working on a tribute to New Jack.
oh, that's
So if you
awesome.
have any memories or anything of New Jack, then would be appreciated. Because
Yeah.
I'm inserting them into the tributes. I don't know if you met New Jack or if you have any
I
memories
only
of New
met
Jack.
him once, and I don't think it was even at the ECW show. I feel like he came to one of the shows that we were at.
Yeah, he was
And
on a show with you, I believe.
yeah, and I remember meeting him. I don't remember where we were, but I remember meeting him and thinking he was going to be this, like, really just like his persona. I really thought, and don't get me wrong, he was crazy. He was crazy, but I remember like meeting him and just how shocked I was about, like, there were a few big names that would, and you know, that they would wrestle in these, like, you know, independent shows, and I was always impressed with the ones that would come into this locker room, right? and and what stood out to me was when New Jack was one of them. He went around and shook everyone's hand, and then he got to me, who you could tell I was not, you know, I'm not like one of these, like, you know, like big wrestlers. And he still came up to me and said, oh, you know, oh, thank you for having me here, and shook my hand. I was like, that went a long way for me, because I hadn't gained a name in the independent circuit. It wasn't like everyone was like, oh, we need to get JD Jen into the show. It wasn't like that. So the fact that he still was respectful in that way, that went a really long way with me, because not everybody did that. Like, you know, there were certain ones that would, there was one in particular I remember, handshake, got to me, skipped me, it shook the next person's hand, and I was like, okay, you know, if that's how you, you know, if that's how you feel, like, that's fine. But yeah, New Jack made it a point to shake my hand. That, to me, that was very respectful, in my opinion.
He was brought in the old school and started out, you know, with Jim Cornette and stuff. So you're
Mm-hmm.
trained that way with the old timers like that.
Yep. Yeah, no, I know.
Probably has a lot to do with it. Actually, I think you were on 2 shows with him. You were on a couple shows with him.
Oof, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
He was crazy, but he was genuinely a nice guy.
Yeah. From what I understand, he was like a light switch. If he respected you and you were good to him, he was good. But man,
Oh,
if you pissed him off or you did something wrong, he could change really quick, from my understanding. But a lot of people
110%.
liked and respected him too. He got along with a lot of people too.
And yeah, and that was the thing. I mean, I only ever saw like that respectful side of him. And as you know, same as you, I've heard the stories, you know what I mean, of New Jack. I mean, I think there was an episode of Dark Side of the Ring
Yeah.
with New Jack, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I watched those, you know, and some of the stories they had, I was like, wow. But then some of them I had heard
Right.
already, you know what I mean? So a lot of it, I was like, oh, I remember that. It was kind of like a reminder, because you know how, like, the stories go through,
Yeah.
and everybody hears about the things that have happened, and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember that story.
But most of them are him taking something disrespectful or somebody being
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful, whether they were or not. It's him taking it as, this
Right.
dude's not being respectful, or this dude's not showing me respect, and
Yep.
he goes to the full amount to
Yeah.
fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no, like, I'll
There's
hit you
no
with a
little
stiff
bit.
arm.
It's all the
Yeah.
way.
No.
It's all or
No.
nothing. But
No, it's not like I'm going to go stiff. It's going to be like, no, I'm probably going to knock you out for real. But, you know, yep. Yeah.
okay, so from these HWF shows, Do you remember your first meeting of Donnie, of Steve Stallion? How you first met him?
I do. I was at a show, so it was me, Rob, or Travis Savage, and Dave. And I want to say, was that a place called Stars?
Club
That's right.
Stars?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. And yep, I met that was the first time I met Donnie. And
That probably would have been the first show. That
yeah,
was March 3rd of 2000. Begin the mayhem. Begin the mayhem. Begin. Why can't I think of the name? Anyway, that was the first show.
yeah, it was. I can't believe, wow, 2000. That's crazy. Okay. So time just keeps going. Okay, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that was the first time I met him.
Primal Beginnings is what it was called.
There we go. Yep. Like, I remember it was really early. I mean, and I remember
Yeah, it was like a 6.5 hour show or something. It was
yeah,
like
it was
crazy.
a long show. And I remember, but everyone was so excited about it that, I mean, I think everyone was there. Everyone stayed even after their matches. I still remember like going out like into the crowd, just watching the matches, just because it was really a fun show. Everybody like was really into it. Donnie he was a super nice guy. Same thing, like I was talking about, like respectful. And with New Jack. And it was the same thing with Donnie. It was like, I'm coming in here again as a nobody, and I just remember again, like the handshake, like how would you like to be involved? Kind of like really leaving it up